Today we'll be discussing the August Week 4 Yeezy restocks, those of which we went over in a video last week. Specifically, we'll be discussing whether you should sell or hold the pairs you got from the recent drops and restocks. To preface this, if you guys enjoy these types of videos regarding the market, reselling, and even info on how to acquire these limited products, be sure you subscribe and enable post notifications. This way you're always 100% updated. Furthermore, for more urgent updates like shock drops and Sitelists, follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10. This way you're always in the loop 24/7 whenever there is a restock, shock drop, etc., such as the Kobe's that we recently saw. For early information before the shock drops occur, release guides, monitors, and much more, even beyond sneaker reselling, Endurance always has your back. You can feel free to check it out with the link in the description below if you want to join and start reselling more than just sneakers. For those who don't know, Yeezys have been restocking again. These are the leftover pairs from the prior Adidas release, along with newly released pairs that were supposed to release early, but were postponed due to the split up. Considering there were so many pairs, we're not going to be doing a full detailed analysis on every single one. Rather, I'm going to explain my general thoughts, as well as a brief seller hold rating for each of the pairs, just like we did for the last restocks. First, the most important and obvious thing to note is that this is most likely the last significant stock of these products that will be seen for the future. This is obviously a very important factor in holding, considering the dead stock supply in the market will always continue decreasing as more people wear their pairs. That is, of course, unless Kanye and Adidas reunite. This is a luxury that we don't have when it comes to most sneakers, considering even Jordan retros could simply be re-retroed in several years, as we've seen time and time again. Not to mention restocks that happen randomly, like the Jordan Reserve we saw for the white cement 3s. On top of this, just like what we saw on Yeezy Day and the prior large restocks, with a large influx of pairs going into circulation all at once, you could certainly expect a lot of panic selling to occur within the first 20 days, bringing these to very low values that they might not deserve. At this point, these are going to be at their lowest point. Hence, it would be reasonable to expect, just like following Yeezy Day, the majority of the highly demanded pairs should increase over time in both the near term and especially the long term following these first 3 weeks. However, this does not apply to all of them, as some may simply have insufficient demand to see notable movement. Hence, I'm going to be giving some brief seller hold ratings out of 10 to see which ones are the best for you to hold, and we'll go in no particular order. First, we have the Yeezy 350 Blue Tint. Not only is this an awesome colorway, but they were one of the earlier pairs which initially dropped back in 2017. Back then, they were going for a lot initially, and nonetheless, they still did manage to appreciate a notable amount. At least that was until their 2021 restock, which added tons of pairs into circulation. Since then, they began decreasing in value, and then, a bit over a year ago, they began appreciating again. Since their recent restock, they haven't actually fallen much in value yet, but that's mostly because many shipments have not gone out yet. When they do, I expect they could fall to an average of about $285, and in about a year, I think it would be reasonable to expect that they would return to their previous high from this year at around $335. If that's the case, that would be less than a 20% ROI. However, similar to the wave runners we discussed in the prior video, I could see a lot more long-term demand for these given their history. If these get back to their high before the COVID stimulus era of about $480, then that would be almost a 70% ROI, which would be really great. So with them being a subpar short-term hold, since the value is quite high already still, but a good long-term hold, I'd rate these just average overall at 5 out of 10. Of course, if these were going for less like other 350s, they'd be much higher, but you have to keep the ROI in mind. Next, we have the Yeezy 700 Static. Following their initial drop in 2018, these appreciated from $400 to $600 in just a couple of months. They continued to appreciate significantly afterwards, especially during the COVID stimulus era. This all came to an end after their Yeezy Day restock though, and following this restock, some sizes have worked their way down to $280 or less, which is below retail. Despite more stock being in circulation now, they still should carry good demand, especially being the original 700 V2 model, which should definitely help them a lot long term. I'd say it would be reasonable to expect that they should get to at least 350 within a year, allowing for a 25% ROI if your pair were to currently drop to $280. Of course, you'd see a lower ROI if they were not that low though. This is another pair that should have good long-term potential as well, being the first 700 V2 colorway. Hence, I'd rate these overall a 5.5 out of 10, just slightly above average. Then we had the Yeezy Foam Runner Desert Sand. Following their first drop, these managed to appreciate to the high 200s, allowing for a really solid ROI, considering they started at around 170. Despite there being more stock in circulation, now they are starting off at an even lower value than before, which is allowing for a good ROI with less of an increase. If these even get back to their initial value of 170, hypothetically, that would be a 25% ROI, which I think is more than possible. Long term, I could see them continuing to increase, of course, like many other foam runners we've discussed. Hence, I would rate these very high at 7 out of 10, well above average, mostly because these low values, combined with their history of appreciating, seems like a really great opportunity for a good ROI in the short and long term. Next up, we have the Yeezy Slide Granite. Just like the other several near identical grayish black Yeezy slides, I believe these also present a great opportunity for a great ROI, considering how low they are in value combined with Yeezy Slide's history of appreciating. For this reason, like the other slides we recently discussed, I am rating these very high at 8 out of 10, well above average for a hold. Next, we have the Yeezy 700 V3 Azeal. This was the first 700 V3 colorway initially and had insane demand when they first dropped and even continued to appreciate a ton after. However, they plummeted following their Yeezy Day restock as tons more went into circulation. Following that, they did appreciate back up to 290, which I think is very likely we will see again, which would be close to a 30% ROI. Long term, I see solid value in these too, since they are the first 700 V3 model and used to have crazy demand. For that reason, I have rated these 6 out of 10, above average. Then we have the Yeezy 350 Slate. While stripe Yeezys do often appreciate well, this is not one of Kanye's colorways, so I think this can hinder the potential to appreciate well, especially long term. Nonetheless, like most 350s, I'm still expecting them to appreciate somewhat, just not a significant amount relative to some other of the original colorways, and they are starting at a fairly low value, allowing for more room for a better ROI. So if they increase to 285 on average, hypothetically, that would be above a 10% ROI, and if they increase to slightly over 300, that would be slightly over a 20% ROI. So it's not the worst hold like compacts, but not ideal either in my opinion, especially since it's not one of Kanye's colorways. Overall, I'd rate them just slightly below average at 4.5 out of 10. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. Let's hope we get some more Yeezy restocks too. And remember, you can now join Endurance with the link in the description for a limited time if you're looking to prepare for more of these restocks or broaden your horizons as a reseller with more markets outside of just sneakers. Subscribe to stay 100% updated on Yeezy releases and any other hype sneakers. But with that said, have a fantastic rest of your day, and of course, good luck on the upcoming releases.
You can now let with your own fella. Where did that bring you? Back to me.